My name is Omar Martinez. I'm a studio artist in the Digital Arts and Design program at Full Sail University. And today we'll be talking about the importance of Latinx content online. Please put your hands together and help me welcome our panelist, Iván Emilio Albino, a social producer for BuzzFeed. Iván.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you all for coming. This is a very exciting moment for me, so I appreciate you all. My name is Iván. I am a social video producer for BuzzFeed currently, but at BuzzFeed, we really do a lot of things. You know, in my time with them, I've gone from intern to fellow to producer to producing for their social media. But one of the most important things that I've done and that have been more impactful for me is creating content for their Latino YouTube channel, which is Paralike. Anyone familiar with Paralike? Cool. So as you guys probably know, Paralike is Latinx content, focused content. So there's a group of producers that they come from different backgrounds and cultures. I'm Puerto Rican. Let's start from that. There is Mexican, there is Dominicans, there is Colombians, there is Salvadorians. So it's just a big, rich, culture-heavy group. And we're just proud to be Latinos and proud to spread the word about, the importance of being Latino and how proud we are, especially nowadays is when we most importantly need it. So I feel like it's not only entertaining, for the viewers, but it's also important for us to put content that matters.
Awesome. If we could get a little taste of what you do with BuzzFeed, if we could see a video.
Yeah, so I'm gonna show you a video of like a compilation of different projects I've worked on for Paralike.
Paralike presenta.
¿Y cuál es el plan? ¿Vas a correr o no vas a voltear para atrás?
Hey guys,
Hey, just going to lunch, just chilling.
Okay.
Same old. Yeah.
All right, I look fancy.
Bye, see ya. Corre. I'm from Puerto Rico. That's not something you see often. I'm sure that they sell it there, but it's not popular.
It's all popular everywhere.
So you put it on top like this? Maya, learn.
Interesting. All right.
It looks like overcooked coconut.
It looks like poop.
Yeah.
It's oily.
Maybe we should cheers.
Poop.
Cheers.
It's like a hint of coconut.
But it's more like fruity.
Yeah.
There are two words in English that I actually hate saying because it gets taken out of context. And it's sheet, like sheet of paper, and beach. Like, oh, let's go to the beach. Give me a sheet of paper. And that's not what you want when you're speaking with people.
Hi. Oh my gosh, I just love your blouse. It's so beautiful.
Yes. ¿Qué fue lo que ella dijo?
Que le gusta tu blusa.
Oh, thank you.
Mira que ya me habéis ordenado una pizza, pero no me entiendes, por favor.
Ay, dámelo acá que yo.
Pero,
Hello. Okay, one pizza, cheese of pizza. Okay, how many time? 15 minutes. Okay, viste qué fácil era.
No se dejen ganar de ellos. No se dejen. Plátano Power. Plátano Power.
¡Puerto Rico!
¿Qué es más rico que un mango? No hay nada en el mundo.
Este mofongo sabe brutal.
¡Canto de cabrón! ¡Coño! ¡Quítate de medio!
I'm ready to give these 2 feet a chance and salsa dance.
So I'm here to teach you some salsa.
Okay.
Because you have a presentation on Friday.
What? What are we learning today?
We're going from intermediate to basic.
What?
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 bad we were
We were
yesterday.
so bad yesterday. He had to change the choreography.
Let's change the choreo. Iván, you're gonna do this.
I'm gonna.
You're gonna do this.
What?
Yeah.
I thought you said this was basic. So in day 3, we started finishing the whole dance routine.
I was getting a little bit anxious just because I was like, I don't know the whole choreography and we're performing this in 2 days. You know, friends came out of work just to see us dance on the roof, and that was just the coolest thing.
So the moment we started dancing, people started screaming and yelling and chanting our name and going like, woohoo and huepa!
Wednesday, September 20th, 2017. A day in Puerto Rico that Boricuas will never forget. Hurricane Maria made landfall just south of Yabucoa, Puerto Rico at 6:15 a.m. with maximum winds reaching up to 155 miles per hour.
Cuando viene María para Puerto Rico, nosotros tuvimos un reto diferente a otros huracanes. Primero porque además de que perdimos la energía eléctrica, perdimos las comunicaciones.
Pues yo pasé el huracán con mis suegros, mis padres lo pasaron en Añasco, nosotros perdimos la comunicación por completo. El no saber de mis padres como por 1 semana y media a mí me tenía en un nivel de estrés gigantesco.
Lo más que me preocupaba era que no pueda ver a la gente que quiero, que Puerto Rico no sea mismo.
I miss home, and I'm sure home misses me. I miss waking up every morning to the smell of coffee roasting and everyone jamming to salsa music on the weekends, playing across the street with my neighborhood friends, enjoying the beautiful sun in that blue Caribbean sky, that place where everyone is so welcoming, so humble, so nice. It doesn't matter where I am or where I will be, home will always be home and I will never hide it. Y para mis amigos y familiares allá en la isla, les digo que sueñen en grande y que naveguen a donde sea que los lleve la corriente. Pero nunca olviden levantar esa bandera con orgullo y recordar de dónde vienen.
That's it. If you didn't know, I'm Puerto Rican, if it wasn't clear enough. But you see, that's one of the things that I definitely want to talk about today is, knowing your strength, and knowing and understanding your culture and what you can bring to the table. Because of course, I couldn't do a lot of Mexican content if I'm not Mexican. Let's leave that to the Mexican on the team to create that. And another thing is, I think you said, when your parents don't speak English, you're like, oh, that's mi mamá, that's my mom. That's the thing that we want to create. When we're producing these videos, we're thinking of audiences like you, being like, oh my God, this is so relatable. This is me as a child trying to teach my parents English. So that's listening to things like that just makes our projects worth something.
Now, my first question from the video is, why did you need salsa lessons?
That's a great question. My mom is great at salsa. Even my brother's good. I don't know. I feel like I just missed out. There's some things that you miss out. Now I can say I'm decent because we had 5 days to learn salsa, so it wasn't even that much time.
All right, so let's start defining what Latinx really is.
Yeah. So Latinx is a word that nowadays is a lot more popular than what it used to, and it is, just to put it in simple words, it is a gender-neutral word that it's gender-neutral for Latino or Latina, and it's for people that don't feel comfortable using the word Latino or Latina, and that's just a word that they have to feel safe and to feel represented in a way. That's kind of like the basic answer to it.
All right.
And the good thing about it is that that this is something that a lot of people talk about is, am I obligated to use it? And no, it's there. If you feel comfortable using it, then you can. If not, then just keep going how it's been.
So it's that new Latin community. Does it connect to, I guess, the age group at all? Is like the new Latin community compared to an older demographic, an old guy like me, which is I'm Latino or I'm Latina, and a younger demographic might be I'm Latinx.
Yeah, I would say so. I feel like it's more common among the younger generation of Latinos because I feel like this is the generation that's bringing all these important topics to life and doing something about it. So I feel like, yes, the older generation of Latinos are now learning it and learning to accept it.
Now, why is it important that the Latinx, or how the Latinx community consumes content or media?
How they consume it? Well, mainly online. It is well known that there's a lot of Latinos that spend their days watching online content. But the thing is that they've been feeling underrepresented for the longest time, especially in mainstream media, in broadcast. It's taken years and years for main companies to bring Latinos and put them in front of the camera or to create Latino content. So this came about, Latinos being tired of it and already working in the media, and they're like, you know what, let's just create a group. Let's start creating awesome Latino content and putting it out there, and the audience is loving it. I feel like it's been successful, and companies are learning they're learning the importance of it and how important it is to target to this specific generation that they weren't doing when they were targeting mainstream media.
Awesome. How are they coming, like how is the advertisement coming to you guys to produce content for them? How's that approach?
Yeah, so pretty much it's been getting more popular because now with YouTubers being a thing and they're getting so successful and popular, there's so many influencers that are Latino and they have massive fan bases, like incredible fan bases. They create a career out of this. And companies are like, this is something that we should be focusing on right now. These 16-year-olds they have such a big fan base that companies can make good use of it in a way because, of course, at the end of the day, it's all marketing. So they contact them and they talk about, what's your target audience? And YouTubers, us as producers, we know who our target audience is by producing content and putting out there and kind of like testing it and see who watches us and who don't. And then we go to marketers and they're like, okay, we tell them who our target audience is, and then we discuss if whatever product they want us to advertise kind of suits our target audience.
Now, how do you go about advertising? If I was an advertiser and I came to you and I wanted to advertise something, how would you go about shooting it? Would you just pop it into one of your videos? Or what's the workflow, the process of?
Yeah, so in my experience in BuzzFeed, for example, so there's the group of producers, and then there's the manager in charge of the producer, but then there's also a team that is in charge of those deals, talking with marketers and talking with businesses and companies. And first, it's like the first conversation to see if this is something that could work and that fits the brand. And then it goes to the manager of the team, and then she makes a decision, and then she speaks with the team. And it's up to the producers to be like, all right, is this a product that I feel comfortable talking about? Because as you guys know, like influencers are not just a face on YouTube. You follow them on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. So if I'm today tweeting about how much I hate chocolate, like I can't stand it. That's an example. I love chocolate. And then Hershey's come and they're like, oh, we have this new chocolate we want you to promote. I'm not gonna be like, okay, I'll promote it and say that I love it when my audience clearly know that I hate it. And they know everything. They're up to everything. Like on the YouTube comments, if we say something that's different from what we said in the previous video, they will know and they will call you out.
Why does most Latino content still work in English as targeted to Latin community?
Yeah, so for example, for Paralike, they create content that mainly Latinos in the United States watch. A lot of Latinos grew up with, our second, third generation Latino where even their parents aren't that fluent in Spanish. So they're probably not that fluent in Spanish either. So we want to create content that's in English because they will still feel a connection, they will still feel represented, but they'll be able to feel more comfortable watching it, because if we put every single video in Spanish, people that don't speak Spanish, even if we put subtitles, they might feel kind of overwhelmed to watch it because it's not their main language. They don't feel comfortable. But I feel like it's still important to mix it up a little bit. In Paralike, we put sometimes Spanglish, English and Spanish, or sometimes we focus on just Spanish with subtitles. One great example is I recently I produced a video about Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico. Great experience, by the way. I went to the island. I interviewed people that lived it through their eyes. They were there the moment the hurricane happened. They lived through the devastations. They lost everything. And as a Puerto Rican, it was very important to me. It was part, of my culture. I wanted to share it. But of course, a lot of the people I interviewed didn't speak English, so the other way around. So I interviewed them in Spanish. The first cut I sent out, I had all the voiceovers and everything in Spanish because I was like, well, it's going to make more sense if the interview's in Spanish. Let me just do the voiceovers in Spanish as well. Everything is coherent. When I got notes back, they were like, you should change the voiceover to English because that's a way that non-Spanish speakers are going to be able to follow more easy. So they're going to be watching the video and they're going to listen my voiceover, and they're going to be like, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is what we're talking about. And then let me just read through the subtitles. And then the next section comes, and then the same thing happens. They kind of listen to my voiceover in English, explaining what's happening, and then it's easier. It flows better, and they feel more connected.
Now, when you're doing your videos, like this video was a lot different from the other content that I showed
Yeah,
you.
totally different.
Your tone is real different. How do you feel that you connect better to the audience? By using the humor and then bringing them aware of certain information or stories at that time? What's your best approach?
Yeah, I feel like it depends on the topic of the video. If you're gonna create a video about how my parents don't speak English, then I feel like the best way to go about it, it's humor, because it's funny, right? Like parents messing up words, it's just funny for everyone. I have to admit it. But then if you're making a video about the Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, that's something that's serious. That's something, that there's really no way to add humor to it. There's a way to make it positive, which I try to achieve. I try to make it positive and end it in a good note, where even though it's been 4 months, 500,000 Puerto Ricans are still without power today, there's still hope. And they still manage to get something positive out of it. It ends with them saying like, it's been years since I sat in the front porch and talked with my neighbor. It's been years since I played dominoes with my grandparents. It's been years since I listened to stories of back in the day, because technology was involved and they were just too busy with work. But then the hurricane happened, and of course it's devastating and sad, but they still managed to get something positive. So that's why I wanted to make the video to end on a positive note instead of a negative, because my main thing is to always do something that entertains, that's happy and positive. But then if like a video like this, you can't really do it with humor, then at least make it positive in a way.
Awesome. Now we talk about demographics. Latinx is a demographic. When I used to work for People Espanol, we did, I did a People magazine cover, and I would do one cover for the country. I do a People Espanol cover, and I do 7 covers. It's the same magazine, but I'm doing Caribbean, East Coast, Mexico, West Coast. And each member of that audience, each niche within the Latinx community, they want something different. They're connected to something different. So how important is that in your...
Yeah, that's very important because, so if you split the United States in half, there's the West Coast and the East Coast. The West Coasters are more familiar and they're more attracted to, culture that's more towards Mexican, Salvadorian, things like that. In the East Coast, you see a lot of Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, it's more Caribbean. So kind of like the East Coast understands more the humor of the Caribbean, like, Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, they have a very specific humor that sometimes other cultures don't really get, and they were like, what are you trying to say? They're just very humoristic and sarcastic. So I feel like it's important to understand the audience and also take that into consideration if you're making a video about a Mexican story, make it in a way where everyone, the whole nation, and your whole audience will be interested in. Now make it super specific to where only people and the audience who is used to getting Mexican content would be interested in a way.
Now, in your group, since you have such a diverse group of people working together, are you trying to make videos, a couple of small videos for those niches? Understanding, because like when I go to California, I can't find adobo, right?
Yes. It's crazy. So, sorry, let me grab some water. So, the video that I showed in that demo, people trying Puerto Rican candy, I had to have my mom ship the candy from Puerto Rico to Los Angeles because there was no place in LA that I would find Puerto Rican candy. It was crazy. You would find every single candy from all over the world except Puerto Rico. So things like that happen, but it's just getting creative. Like, of course, I just asked my mom because it was there, but then if you don't have someone that live in your country, then, go and find other ways. Like Amazon is a good way, and companies sometimes have Amazon Prime where it's just, if you need it for like tomorrow, tomorrow it will be there. So it's just being, on your toes and being proactive with it. But yeah, sometimes it's challenging. Even adobo, I made a video once about, it was like a meme video. It's on their Instagram, and it was like when you put adobo on everything, and you just start putting adobo in like a bunch of meats and like fish and burgers, and then you put adobo in like plants to season it and like shine a shoe with adobo. It's just crazy. But we had to like go through like 6 different grocery stores to find adobo. Yeah. And when I found it, we bought like 7, and then I still have them in my house.
Reasons why new media companies are now taking Latinx content more into consideration.
Yeah. Why are they taking Latino content into consideration? Mm-hmm. Because we're huge. We're out there, and they're noticing that we're consuming this content and that we're being interactive with it, and they love it because that's an audience, as I mentioned earlier, that they can now target to and they can now market to, and it's a whole new audience. And there's ways to do it. You can't just, regular BuzzFeed videos can't promote the same things that Latinx content on Paralike can promote. They're the same company, but they have different kind of views and stuff.
So you were saying earlier about how they take a twist to connect to the Latin market for certain movies that you guys are advertising?
Yeah. So for example, this is a good example. So when Pitch Perfect 3 happened, they wanted Paralike to promote the movie. And at first I was like, how is Paralike going to promote a movie about girls singing on a choir? It's like, they can't get more American than that. But actually, there's a character in the movie that's Latina, so they actually brought her, Creasy Fit is her name, and then she made a video with Paralike about, what was the title? When you have like a talented cousin, and then like everyone thinks like they can sing, but then she comes in and then she's great, and we're like, oh, okay. So then that was kind of like promoting the movie, but in a way where we weren't sitting down being like, all right, go watch Pitch Perfect 3. There's a Latina in the movie, yeah. We promoted it in a way where it was entertaining. Even if you don't like the movie, you would still watch the video, which is great because at the end of the day, we like those views. That's what keep us working.
All right, one last question before we go to Q&A. Where do you see the future of social media going after Latinx? What's the process? Where do you think we're going with that?
So I feel like in the future, it's only going to get bigger than this. Especially Latinos in Hollywood and in the media are now understanding that instead of being like, oh, you're Cuban, I'm Puerto Rican, like, there's always that rivalry that's kind of like a friendly rivalry, but like not really. Instead of just being like that, we're like, I'm Puerto Rican, I'm doing my thing, you're Cuban, you're doing your thing, you're Mexican, you're doing their thing. Now they're learning to come together as one, and they're creating some powerful stuff. And I feel like this is just the beginning, and they're starting to figure that out. So I can't imagine what's going to happen in like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, where people are like actually working together and supporting each other and being like, you know, a success for you as a Latino is a success for me because we're all in this together.
So how do you think that Espacito should have won a Grammy?
I'm sorry?
Espacito should have won a Grammy?
Despacito?
Yeah.
Of course. But, like, of course, we were all expecting that. But at least we should be proud that they were on stage performing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a step, you know, looking at it in a positive way. But I feel like, yeah, they were already there. Give it to them. Like, let them have their moment.
All right, at this time, we're going to open it up for some questions from our audience. If you have any questions for our panelists, please raise your hand and a microphone will be brought to you. For those of you joining us online, please direct your questions online to the online moderator who will try to accommodate your questions for you.
Hi, man. How's it going?
Hey, how are you?
Great. Okay, so as a fellow MCBS student, and as a Latina too, I know. Okay, so I want to ask you a personal question.
Ooh.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so if you would have to define your journey using one word, what word would it be?
That's easy. It's persistency.
Thanks, man. I practiced.
Yeah, that's great. Great question, by the way. Yeah. Is persistency a word? Persistency? Or being persistent? I don't know.
I got that terrible Spanglish, so...
Megan, is that a word? What's a word for being persistent? Perseverance. Yeah, that's the word. And why? Because I would not be where I am today if I literally wouldn't been working my ass off since day one coming here to Full Sail. I feel like I mentioned that earlier today. I know you're all doing the same thing. There's a difference between going to school, doing your thing, and being like, okay, I'm done for the day. Let me just go home and spend 8 hours playing video games. That's great once in a while, but like use your time wisely. Use your time to create content that you're proud and that's gonna help you in the future. I can share something really quick. Is when I was a student here, I had my own YouTube channel, youtube.com/Albino. Check it out, subscribe, share. And I just started creating videos randomly and with my friends here in school, and they loved it because everyone in MCBS loves the camera. We can't lie. And I made this one video that was Americans say Puerto Rican slang. And it was just literally, it was like 6 of us in my apartment. We were just having fun and we shot this video. And all of a sudden, like, I woke up next morning to like 10 texts and like people sharing it. And it had like over 100,000 views on Facebook, like in like a day or two, which was crazy. And then when I started interviewing for BuzzFeed, I always was clear that I wanted to work with Paralike because as a Latino, I wanted to work with them. And I felt like the way for them to really know my interest is like literally going into the interview being like, I want to work for Paralike. Like acting like if you don't want me with Paralike, don't hire me. But I was like, JK, hire me if you want, like for anything. And what I showed that video, and that video, till this day, I feel like I can say that's the video that got me this opportunity. And if I wouldn't be making funny videos at my apartment with my friends, like 6 months before, probably I would have been here today. So yeah, be persistent.
Off of that real quick, why'd you choose Full Sail?
Why did I choose Full Sail?
Yes.
Because, of course, it's a great university. So this is a funny thing. I've always been interested in Full Sail. I love the style of their education and how classes were. I would always research it, but I never found a specific program that fit my needs in a way, my interests. And then I went to another university and I did a year. I wasn't very happy with it. And then one night, randomly, I went back to Full Sail and I found this new degree called Media Communications. And yeah, and I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. I went through looked through, the curriculum and the scheduling and everything. And I was like, this is literally what I've been waiting for all this time. So like, I just started the process the next day, and like 3 months later, I started. And it was I feel like it was kind of meant to be. Because like, why would I randomly at 11 p.m. be searching for Full Sail and found this? And the next day I was already in the phone with like the admissions rep. Yeah, and it's been great. I honestly feel like I would not have the skill set that I have and gotten the opportunities that I've gotten if it wasn't because of Full Sail. Because here, while I was at school, I was also doing an internship with the Daily Buzz when it was still a thing. And that literally changed my life too. It gave me so many like skill set and so much experience of real world news that was happening live, broadcasted throughout the whole country. It was crazy. Waking up like at 2 a.m. every morning.
Yeah. You always got the best parking spots though.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right, any more questions? Online?
Hey.
This one is from Jasmine. She's an entertainment business major. So she wants to know, when you started at BuzzFeed, what are some things you did to make yourself stand out amongst your peers in order to work your way up to producer level?
Yeah. So as already when I got into the internship at first, or how did I, what was it?
I think just as you started there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like they always talk about this thing that's called my voice. What is my voice? Literally, that's the most important thing. Like, if you work for BuzzFeed, like, if you don't have a voice, then what are you doing? It's like, and your voice means what's important to you. What's important to you that you want to produce, that you think it's going to do good, you know, for an audience. You need to be specific into, like, what kind of content I want to produce that's going to benefit someone in a way. And why do I think this is going to be shareable? Because that's another thing they look into. It's like, why do you think this is shareable? Because that's how they get their views. And then if a video doesn't do well, then it's not being that successful, you know? So having definitely your voice and like a clear image of what you wanted to do. I always knew I wanted to do Latino content. As a Puerto Rican, there was no Puerto Rican on Paralike at that time. So I was like, this is my moment to come in and like do that and like show them what I got. And yeah, and then also working really hard and going above and beyond of what they ask, because they ask for something basic, then you give them at least something a little bit more than basic. You know, it's not like you should do like a feature film in your first video, but like do something that you're gonna be proud, because if you get an internship for 3 months, you don't know what's gonna happen after those 3 months. So if you only got the chance to make one video, make that video the best one you can, because that's gonna be the video that's gonna live on BuzzFeed's channel forever, and you can be like, I made that video. If you make a video that you're not that big of a fan, then you're probably not gonna share that video with anyone.
Now, how comfortable do you have to be in front of the camera? Now, I got into to become a graphic designer because I never wanted to be in front of the camera. I love doing the work.
And you're here talking.
I know.
Doing great.
Doing my thing. So, in a lot of your videos, if you're producing it and you're creating all that content, you're also the talent in a lot of them, because I see you.
Yes.
You know.
It's producing videos for BuzzFeed is like a one-man show, pretty much. Most of the videos that you guys saw, I was in charge of the pre-production. I was planning it. I was writing. I was casting. I was budgeting. I was, requesting all the equipment. I was making sure I had the location set. And then I was also in charge of the day of production, shooting the video. Of course, you would have help. Like maybe there's someone that helps you shoot if you're in front of the camera. But if you're not in front of the camera, most likely you will be behind the camera, like shooting it and asking the questions, if it's like an interview style question or if it's like a taste test style. And then after that, you're the one in charge of editing it and putting your own twist and style to it. And then you send it to whatever team you're on, and then they give you notes on the video. And I feel like that's one of the hardest parts, actually, because at first you're like, why are you giving me 150 notes on this video that I thought it was perfect? But then it turns out that it's not. And then when you might get frustrated and you just keep going and you send like 5-6 cuts later, and then that's like the best video you've ever done, and it wouldn't get there if it wasn't because of all the great notes that the team left you. So it's like a process. But yeah, most of the time, it's just you. It's crazy.
So even in this new role that you have in California, it's pretty much you from beginning to end?
Yeah. So yeah, at BuzzFeed, whenever someone produces a video, of course, if it's not like a high scale video, if it's like a scripted video, like for example, I worked in Unfortunately Ashley season 2, and I worked in the production, and that was a big production because it was, they had a bigger budget, they had, there was a company advertising through the show. So that's a bigger one. But most of the videos that you see, like people try Twinkies for the first time and stuff like that, then it's just one person shooting, planning, executing, editing, all that, just themselves.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any questions? Any more questions?
Any questions?
If there's any advice you would give to someone wanting to start, wanting to get this is what I want to get into, what could I do on my own to get started to go into this direction of being a producer?
Yeah, so start making content now. While you're in school, just start producing stuff. That's kind of the voice that you want companies like BuzzFeed, or if there's any other company that you're looking into, that you want them to see your videos and be like, okay, I understand, I have a clear image of what's your style of video, what kind of content do you like producing? Because if you're into, for example, this one's very specific, if you're into beauty and fashion, most of your videos, if you're just doing them for fun for your YouTube channel, should be about that, because then that's like a portfolio that you have for when you apply for a company like this, you show them this, and you're like, okay, so this is what I have, this is my expertise, and then that could lead you into a pathway where you end up working with the beauty and fashion team on a company like BuzzFeed.
Is there any recommendations in regards to equipment? Like I see you got you got your little Canon camera with you at all times to do something. What would you recommend to start off? Just start off using your phone and start making content? Or?
Yeah, so all of you probably have already a smartphone. That's already a camera that you have. This is something I learned in media communications, because we always think and we compare ourselves with big YouTubers that already have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Of course, they have the money to buy big equipment, they can do that. But if you just want to start, just literally start using your phone. If you can get a point and shoot camera like this, use that. Nowadays, these cameras have almost the same quality as a DSLR, which is crazy. Just do your own little setup with minimum equipment and start producing stuff. Sometimes, of course, the quality is important, but when you're just getting started and you're just kind of learning, just do it. Trial and error, do it, put it out there, get feedback from your friends. If you want to share, if you don't want to share it for everyone, put it on Listish, send it to your friends, get feedback, try it again, do something better, then share it to the world, stuff like that. But I feel like it's just starting. If you don't start, then you won't, move further in a way. Yes, Megan.
Of course. I don't want to neglect the audience online. Tell us a little bit about that part about finding your voice, right? Because when you came, I remember that you had a very specific purpose, that you wanted to be a YouTuber and you wanted to have a channel. But I didn't get the impression that you had found your voice yet fully. So what was that process like for you?
Yeah, when I first started at Full Sail, I didn't have a voice at all. I didn't have an idea of what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to work with video and produce video and host and stuff. But every time someone asked, I would have such a general explanation that they're like, well, you need to be more, straightforward with your answer. It's tough. I feel like the way you do it is going back to creating content. If you're interested, if you get an idea and you're like, I kind of want to try a hairstyle video, then do it and see if you enjoy the process. That's a good sign. If you don't enjoy the process and you feel that this is more of a chore than a hobby, then be like, okay, next time I might try a cooking video, and then do that and then see. It's just kind of like practicing. I feel like I literally found my voice when I did the American Say Puerto Rican slang video. It was very BuzzFeedy style, and at that moment I was not thinking about BuzzFeed or applying at all. I was just doing it, and I was like, let's just do it this style where you sit in front of the camera and talk to the camera like a confessional and stuff. And then it hit, and I had 100 subscribers in my channel, and I was like, how did this hit? It's crazy. So that's when I started being like, okay, so maybe this is something that I can do, because no one else in my friends could have done a video about Americans saying Puerto Rican because they weren't Puerto Rican. So yeah, that was kind of the process. It's kind of like trial and error, and the more you produce, the more videos you make, the faster you're gonna find your voice. Okay. Awesome. Any other questions?
Question.
You have one? By the way, tomorrow I have a workshop on producing digital video content online, and we're gonna talk about how you can do it at home, literally what we were talking about, but hands-on. So if you guys want, I think it's at noon, right? At 11, yeah. Check your calendar. It's with me. And yeah, that's a good way for you to kind of like start. We're gonna mock like a BuzzFeed style taste test, and it's gonna be fun, so join us if you can.
Okay. Hi, my
Hello.
name is Luciana. As a Latino working in BuzzFeed, how has been your experience, and what are the positive and the negative of it? Like,
Yeah. So my experience overall, I feel like it's been wonderful. I don't mean to just say it. It's been great because it's been a great learning experience because, of course, I took the classes and I learned how to do, I work with camera and video edit, but it's not until you do it on a regular basis for a company that's kind of like putting you a pressure in a way where like it needs to share, it needs to hit, because if not, we're not making money, So all that, it's been a combination between like stressful times, exciting times, meeting new people, learning new things. You put it all together, it's just a great experience. It's been great. Challenging has been, let's see, because there's always challenging moments. I feel like working with a team that, when you come into a team and you're pretty much brand new and they've been doing that for years already, you feel like the need that you need to get approval for every single thing. When I was a fellow for Paralike, this happened a lot where every single tiny question I had, I was asking them like, hey, should I change the font to this color? Hey, should I cut this part of the video? Hey, do you like this thumbnail or this thumbnail? Should I use the backdrop blue or white? And yes, I asked because I was like, the more I ask, the more they feel like I want their opinion. But in reality, what was happening was that they were getting the intention that I wasn't ready because I was asking too many questions. So I feel like it was a struggle between knowing what to ask and when and how much, and also taking that like, this is my project, I'm gonna be responsible for it, and I feel confident enough that I can make my own decisions, and then at the end, I'll come, with a full project being like, okay, so this is what I wanna do, what do you think? Give me feedback. But don't ask for every single question, every single detail, because that's just annoying. And now I learned that. At the beginning, it took me months to learn, which, yeah, I feel like that was the most challenging part, because there was a point where they were like, what are you doing? Are you even ready? Because you're asking way too much. And I'm like, sorry, I just wanted to be perfect. And I thought this was a good thing, what I was doing, but in reality, it wasn't.
What are questions over here?
Hi, I'm Daniela Sanchez. I study digital arts and design. Actually, I graduated in December, so
nice.
Yeah, super cool. So actually, my sister started a YouTube channel on makeup, and I know that you like go back and up to finding your voice. But what do you think that are like? There are millions of YouTubers right now. And how can someone stands out in comedy, makeup, hairstyle, or whatever the topic is in the YouTube channel. So what advices do you give to those that are starting and doesn't have the followers or whatever, and they're trying to find the voice, how to stand out among like millions of YouTubers?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's something that I still struggle with my own channel, because it's true. Nowadays, YouTube is so oversaturated. There's so many people who just want to be YouTubers and they want to be famous vloggers and stuff. So there's so much content out there that for you to get the attention of people and the following, it's really hard. My suggestion is look at your favorite YouTubers. If you're into beauty and makeup and lifestyle, look at what your favorite YouTubers about that around that topic are doing, and then take like ideas, but don't copy them, because if you copy them, then you're just literally making the same thing that they're making, but with like 1 million subscribers less, So just put your own twist. It goes back to the voice. If you're Latina, then make Latina-inspired makeup, and maybe that's your thing, Maybe like Latina throughout history makeups and stuff like that. Those are things that you would think like, oh, that requires so much production, but it really doesn't. Like, you can do that. YouTubers like who are just, single YouTubers that have their own channel, sometimes the more real and raw their videos are, the more the audience follows, So I've seen moments where YouTubers go all out with their production, and it doesn't hit as much as a video they made just talking in front of a camera, just chilling in their bedroom, But yeah, just look for inspiration, but don't copy, because they already have the big following. Followers already follow them, so they don't want to see the same thing. Just kind of like use your own personality, which I'm sure is different than hers and than him's, and then put that towards your interest. And if you mash those together, you'll have something that's unique and that probably you can just do, or your sister. Yeah. No problem.
Got a question over here?
Hi.
Hey.
Okay, so as a member of the Latinx community and being in the power or in the position to create content and produce things for the community, how would you say you've used the skills and knowledge you gained from Full Sail to kind of represent the community and lessen that divide in and out of it?
Yeah, great question. So in order for me to get an internship at BuzzFeed, for example, I had to already have some experience with video production. And my degree helped in that, because while I was here, I was producing kind of like BuzzFeed style videos, right? We were always talking about, for today's project, we're gonna make a BuzzFeed style video. That was like the thing. So when I applied for BuzzFeed, I had all these videos that were BuzzFeed style. But they were mainly Latinos, because I still haven't found my voice then. So that's when I already found it. I started creating content that was BuzzFeed style, but with my twist. And then I started kind of like showing that when I applied to BuzzFeed. I feel like also, once I got my position with BuzzFeed, it's important to use your voice for good. Of course it's great to entertain, but sometimes even entertaining is important, because as I was mentioning earlier, nowadays, like someone who had a stressful day, especially a Latino, in the moments that we're living today, the last thing they want to check and they want to do is watch the news at night, because that's probably going to keep them awake all night, honestly. So maybe they'll just go on YouTube and watch a funny Latino video where they kind of like can relate and takes them back to memories when they were younger, or situations where they lived with their parents and stuff. So, even though we're entertaining, we're still doing some good. And then also I take the time to produce content that informs, for example, the video about the Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico. It's been past 4 months. A lot of things have happened since then, so the media already forgot about it, but there's 500,000 Puerto Ricans that still have no power. There's still people that, they lost their houses and they really don't have where to live. So it's not like everything is perfect, but because you're all not listening, or you're not seeing it on the news anymore, you think that everything is perfect. So it's, my responsibility to create a video where now at least it's there and it sparks the conversation for maybe like a few more weeks, because of course it's not gonna be there forever. But yeah, I feel like it's important to use your voice, not just to create memes and funny videos, but also to inspire the Latino community, if that's your target audience. But then it also goes with whoever your target audience is. Hey.
So, what advice would you give someone, like, for instance, I'm a Mexican American, but I was born in Japan, born and raised, so I don't really have many of the experiences like other my Latin American counterparts, but like, how would I go on relating to them when it comes to content I create?
Yeah, that's perfect. So your voice could be how I want to get in touch with my Mexican culture. And then your content could be like me trying stuff about the Mexican culture and learning about it, and like vlogging going to Mexico where your family used to live, or stuff like that. It doesn't have to be that you grew up super Mexican, but as long as you can connect it somehow, and that's a great way to take it. Maybe like your vision is to get connected more to your culture, and that's something that the audience love. Maya from Paralike just released a video that it was her learning Spanish in 60 days, and you guys should watch it. It was a very emotional video because halfway through it, she was like so emotional about I feel so much connected with my culture, because at first she didn't know any Spanish, and now at least she's getting there. But in only 60 days. But I feel like she's gonna keep doing great, and in a year she's gonna be so much fluent, and that's great because then she can make a video of like how I can talk Spanish. And she's actually in Mexico this week, and she was so excited because she can take what she learned from her Spanish and put it into use back in Mexico, where where that's her culture, that's her people. So I feel like that's a great way to put it, even if you don't have the experience of growing up in a Mexican American environment. No problem. Thank you.
Question right here.
Hello.
Hi. Name's Brandon Price. What made you realize that BuzzFeed was the right company to join to continue your content?
Great question. So the main reason I wanted to apply for BuzzFeed was because of Paralike, honestly. Like, I love BuzzFeed. I love being on like random videos tasting stuff. Like, it's cool. But when I feel more connected to something, that's kind of like when you are more passionate about a project. So I knew I wanted to work with Paralike, at least for a little bit, because back then, that was, and still is, one of the two main media companies or YouTube channels that are out there that create Latinx focused content. There's really not that many. So, and they were doing so great, and they're even doing better now. So I feel like that was the main reason why I chose BuzzFeed, and I wanted to apply. And maybe they'd never tell me like the reason why I got hired, but I feel like honestly, having a clear vision of being like, this is what I can bring to the table, that helped, because it was more specific and your competition is less, because if you have a specific target and a specific vision, then you're removing everyone else that doesn't have the same vision as you, and that's sometimes works on your favor. Did I answer kind of your question? Cool.
Yes. Now, slightly off topic, but they were talking about starting on YouTube and starting videos. A lot of times when I hear people talk about YouTube channels, they're constantly uploading content, like either daily, weekly. Like, what's your workflow for yourself and for BuzzFeed in regards to, are you making a video every day? Are you uploading a video once a week, twice a week? What's your goal? And how much work goes into making a video that you're going to upload?
Yeah, so of course, we all know consistency is key. And for example, for my channel, I wish I could post more, but like that's not my main job, you know? So I try to post at least once a week. Sometimes I miss it, but like I'm trying to get better. That's one of my New Year's resolution, to post at least once a week for my channel. But for example, for Pero Like, they post 3 times a week on their channel. They post Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday. And they try to keep up with the schedule because the loyal audience knows when it's Wednesday, there's a video for Pero Like coming, so they're gonna go to the channel. If there's no video there, they're gonna get mad and they probably won't come back next Wednesday, you know? So it's important to keep up the schedule. But then, for example, for BuzzFeed, they post 1-2 videos a day. So, but of course, BuzzFeed have a bigger team. Their channel has like over 11 million subscribers. So that's the reason why Pero Like is still growing. So they, you know, and the team is only like 5 producers. So of course they can't really put a video every day. But they still manage to keep up to schedule, which is as important as posting daily. If you keep up with your schedule, your audience know that, like, okay, on Tuesdays, I don't need to expect a video from Pero Like. Yeah, awesome. So it's important, definitely.
Awesome. Any other questions?
How's it going, man?
Hey, how are you?
Not bad. Thanks for asking. Quick question. So, through what you've done, being at Full Sail and where you are now, how would you define success? And do you feel like where you are now, have you reached that definition yet?
No, I have not reached my definition. I feel like BuzzFeed was a way to get the ball rolling. You know, now I'm feeling like I'm doing what I love, but I don't feel like I made it. You know, when you're in school, you might feel like, okay, working for BuzzFeed is like, okay, so this is what I want to do. But I feel like it happens to everyone, where when you achieve one goal, you already have another one in the works, in the plan, and then you keep going until you're like old, you know? So, of course, now I'm feeling like, why are you laughing?
I turned 40 like 2 days ago, so I was just saying.
Oh.
Like, yeah, I get it.
Sorry.
It's all right.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I don't I don't feel like I made it. Of course I feel some sort of success, that's great, but it's been a journey, definitely. It's been a journey of hard work and putting all your effort into your goal, and making sure that if you're working on a tiny project, put it as much attention as if it's a big project, because that tiny thing is gonna probably help you out to get the bigger one, you know? So yeah, I feel like as long as you keep working hard, small successes are gonna start coming, and then you're gonna feel and get to a point where you're like, this is where I wanna be. Now is my moment to keep growing. And that's, I feel like, where I am at right now. Yeah.
How was relocating to California?
So I've never been to LA before starting, moving. I went for the interview for 3 days, and then I came back, and then I moved when I got the internship. And it was hard. LA people don't know how to drive, and they're always mad. And 0.5 seconds, the light turns green, they're already honking at you, and you can't even like press the pedal to like go. So it was so stressful to the level that I stopped using my car and took the train for like a full 2 weeks, because I was like, I can't deal with this anymore. But now it's fun. It's fun. Like, I can drive. I'm the one honking. You're just accustomed to the situation. But it's cool. LA is great. I feel like LA, there's something about it that keeps you motivated, because you keep meeting people. You keep meeting people that have the same interests as you, and you keep collaborating, and you keep looking around, and you see all these big companies that you would love to work for, and you're like, oh my God, they're literally like a 15-minute drive from me. Why can't I work for them? So that kind of like keeps you motivated in a way. Yeah.
I think we have another question.
Hey.
Me again.
Hello again.
Okay, so when you were talking about success, I want to know kind of what is like your next step right now. Because yeah, some of us like we see you working at BuzzFeed and creating all this, you know, Latino content that is like important, especially right now in the environment and the, you know, era that we're in. So like we see that and we're like, yeah, man, he's doing it. But like now you're like, okay, yeah, but I want to do more. So I want to ask you like, what is the next step? Is it working maybe with like Jimmy? Because we've done our research. I know that you're a Fallon fan.
Yes. Okay. Wow, you did do your research. Damn. Okay. So to clarify, like, of course I feel successful and I love it. It's not like I'm like, okay, I got here, now what's next, you know? But I feel like that's just part of being ambitious in a good way. You always want more, you always crave more, because that's just how you keep growing as a professional. But yes, I would love to I like hosting. So this year I'm taking it as a year where hopefully I gain more hosting experience. But of course I do still love producing. So hopefully in the future I can host a talk show, Latino oriented, maybe still in Spanglish, that I can be a producer and in charge of, you know, what we do in it and stuff. Great. Putting it out to the world.
All right, so thank you everyone for attending. I'd like to thank Iván, Emilio, Albino for coming in here and sharing his knowledge. It was great. It was
Thanks
great
for having
meeting
me.
you and hanging out. And have a great day, everyone.
Thanks.